Yes. Hold on. You're into it too. You're into it with me 2 years now, and you still can't remember the name of the show. We're in our third year of doing this.
We're live, man.
Oh, does it say we're live? Wait until we get to the music.
No, it says live.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, we're live, man.
All right, hold on just a second.
I'm moving like I hear music.
I hear you. Hold on. Here we go.
Well, hey, folks, how you doing today? We got a special show for you tonight. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be really happy about this one. We come all the way from someplace, and we're going to go all the way to another place. But, it's what tonight is the off night. It's off night, folks. And tonight it's going to be very special. But I want to bring in the host, the MC, and the guy that's doing this whole thing, Mr. Mark Sweetman. Come on in, Mark.
Hey. We're into hold on. We're into September 2022.
Oh, yeah.
And you've been my sidekick and announcer since 2020. So we're into our third year now of you doing this.
Really?
So I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking. Even though your background is in improv, I'm thinking maybe we should script that opening.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
maybe. I think that would be okay. That'd be okay. We could script it. We could do a tape version too,
or a tape would even be better, because then we could just run it, and we could, all the things that I have to do that I don't want seen or heard.
Exactly. If you do a tape version of it.
All the screen, all the yelling at my kids and stuff like that as we try to get the show.
Exactly. Just do a whole thing, but we'll do it like The Simpsons, something like that.
That worked. All right. So, how was your week? I saw. Of course, I say this every week, but for the last 8 weeks now, I've seen you on Sunday night because we do a live show together on Sunday night. Mm-hmm. So,
well, I tell you, I had a very interesting thing that happened to me on Saturday while driving Uber.
Okay.
I picked this lady up at the airport, and I was driving along, and usually have a little chatter going on, and so we started talking about first off we talked about the Lions, and she was like, oh wow, so she's kind of like a Steelers fan or whatever, and we're talking about stuff like that, and she's coming back to go to Royal Oak, and then we started talking about how bad the Lions were and what's going to happen, and then we started talking about the Tigers, and how the Tigers not getting any money, and we both agreed that Illich is basically strangling the Tigers, and there's not making any money that way. Then I said, well, he also strangled out the Detroit Second City. And she goes, really? I knew somebody at Detroit Second City. I knew Purton. Oh, really? Purton. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Second City. I took those classes there. Really? Yeah. I used to be Lisa Goich's roommate. I said, Lisa Goich? I mean, the one that was a comic back here and is in L.A.? So ends up, I stop at her house and said, you want to take a Facebook photo? I have her on Facebook. So we took a Facebook photo and sent it to Lisa, and she goes, my God, that was my roommate. So I'm just saying, you're all like not even 2 steps away from a person from the past that you may want to know or not. So
that happens all the time, especially in this business. I run into people I haven't seen in 30, 40 years, and it's like we pick right up where we left off. That's great. All right. Well, I'm gonna take you down because we have a special guest today, and I want Susan to get her poem in. So stay tuned, Andy. Just watch the show from where you're at, and we'll bring you up a little bit later. And right now, here's my bride, Susan, with our timely, weekly, topical poem of the week.
Hi. So Mark has me do a poem every week because he doesn't put together an agenda of current events to talk about.
Exactly. So I'll use the poem as my agenda.
He may or may not stick to the news items on the poem. But I do have to say a shout out to Mark. He actually gave me a couple of news stories to include in the poem. That rarely happens, so... Here we go.
Yeah, there was a lot of death this week.
Okay. News for the podcast in a poem for all. End of summer approaches. Get ready for fall. A country known for peace is having a brawl. In Sweden, the vote is too close to call. Russian troops retreat. in parts of Ukraine, but the war continues to leave a stain. Reactor shut down, there's legitimate fear. Where will Ukraine get power this winter, my dear? A special master for records will take a look, and Bannon was charged, he's on the hook. Stop the investigations on actual nicotine level. Teen vaping crisis and Juul will settle. Obama portraits have been unveiled. Beauty of Michelle, the artist has nailed. And Barack looks real, a painting well done. Kudos to Robert McCurdy and Sharon Sprung. For over 70 years, she served quite well. A nation mourns and cries in a sad farewell. A double rainbow appeared on that sad day. Beloved Elizabeth II has passed away. And that's the poem.
Thank you very much.
Here's your agenda.
Leave my agenda right there. Thank you very much. That poem now becomes the outline for our topics of discussion here. And
hi to Peter. Remember I used to pick you up at the airport at LAX?
He's not on yet.
He's not?
Yeah, stick around.
He can't hear me.
He can hear you,
Okay.
but stick around.
I'm just saying hi.
All right. That means you're not going to stick around?
I may.
All right. Now, gonna bring up Sam now. We also like to have one professional radio guy and one New Yorker and one Jew on the show, and this guy combines it all for us. Here he is, Sam Greenfield, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
a triple threat, everybody.
the triple threat.
Quadruple.
Anyway, I want to bring you up.
Glasses. Susan takes off her glasses to read. If I took off my glasses, I couldn't see my hand.
Now I do the same thing because I'm nearsighted. I have to when I hold a script.
Oh,
exactly. I have perfect up close vision. I just need my glasses for distance, so I can't read it very well with my glasses on. That's me. I'm getting old.
Well, right now with my glasses, I cannot read my screens. You'll often see me taking things off when I have to read something on the screen. And for teleprompters, I always ask for the largest font. If I'm doing something where they have on TV where they have a teleprompter, I always have to have the largest font or the largest drawing on the card. I just can't see up close. The glasses are for...
the studio doesn't like you if after the end of your reading they go, "Oh, that wasn't big enough?"
They want. I want the print big, or you'll get the acting big. I'll be chewing the scenery if the print isn't large enough for me.
See how you made it about you, Mark?
Yeah. Thanks. Well, maybe you don't need to stick around. All right.
Get her out of here, for Christ's sake.
It's about you.
Anyway, I want to
Take a hike.
Sam out here. I want Sam out here for this because one of our oldest friends in the business. Sam and I go back into the early 80s, and I remember the first time I worked with Peter is when Bob Fisher booked us both at the Indie Club, Chicken Patty's Room. And anyway, so here he is. He's got a show coming to Detroit and New York. So we got a New Yorker and a Detroiter here. I want to bring him out now. Here he is, Peter Fogel, everyone. And you're on us. You can see yourself on screen. Hey, Peter, how's it going?
Hold your applause. Let me tell you that banter in the beginning, that was priceless. Talking about a nearsighted Jew who looks like Truman Capote. And,
it's always nice to be loved.
Yes. Watch this. How you feeling? Watch this. This is how one Jew talks to another. How you feeling? How you feeling today? How you feeling today, Mr. Greenfield?
And then I show my doctor's report.
See, that's what happens. This is a conversation. I have friends that are getting up there in years. What'd the doctor say? Did you get a second opinion? How's the rehab going? That's the conversation, basically. Right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
I live in a building where there are a lot of older Jews, and if I say to someone, "Hey, how you doing?" it literally is a doctor's report.
It's a doctor's. It's the same thing. And this is one of the bits I talk about in my stand-up, is I know I'm getting older and I actually look forward to hearing about my friends' ailments because they make me feel better about myself. They especially Jewish people, it's a badge of honor, like they're competitive. This is a true story. A friend says to me, "Oh, what, Pete? Your triglycerides were a little high last month?" That's nothing. 3 weeks ago, my gallbladder and appendix exploded. 19 hours of surgery. I crossed over to the other side, came back because it was too muggy. How do I respond? You win. Your health sucks more than mine. They're very competitive, aren't they?
Do you guys remember Mike Binder's joke about why there's no Jewish faith healers?
No. What is that?
Someone would go up and go, Rabbi, my back. And the rabbi would go, your back, my neck.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, they just compare. Why is that, Sam? You can ask Sam. Sam, you were in the hospital, weren't you? Weren't you?
I've been in the hospital quite frequently over the last couple of years.
At least you had your health.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you know what happened this year? This year, everything was going swimmingly, and then I slipped and fell and fractured 5 ribs.
Oh my God! And was it your fault, or can you sue somebody?
I lost my balance.
Okay.
Really? But wasn't it in your landlord's building? I mean, can't.
Well, I can't sue him because I fall in my apartment.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought. Okay.
Well, we tried.
Maybe it was in a common
We gave it everything we had. Here's what happened. They told me it was going to take 6 to 8 weeks for it to heal. You know, when you break a rib, there's no like bandaging it up. It has to heal itself. It has to just repair. And it healed in 3 weeks.
Wow.
So I was very grateful for that.
Okay.
Now, did you guys
and on this topic, Mark, I won't be available next Monday.
That's fine.
I'm going to a funeral.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My sister.
Oh,
no, please. You have no idea how little. No, stop. No, It's fine. It's fine. Okay. I had to be talked into going. No, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
We'll get over it.
Well,
whatever the opposite of close knit is.
Yeah. I never went to a sister's funeral. Of course, I didn't have any sisters, so.
Oh, I thought you meant like Aretha Franklin.
He's saving.
That funeral's still going on. You guys haven't been to Detroit in a while. That funeral is still going on. Thought that would never
really.
Sam's going for the Shiva. There's a lot of lox and bagels.
Exactly. He's going.
They've named that park down by the waterfront after her.
Yes. I'm just saying that we have just monumental funerals here in Detroit. Rosa Parks had her funeral here, went on for what seemed like days. Aretha Franklin seemed like days. I'm sure when Stevie Wonder or Berry Gordy dies, I'm sure it'll be the same thing. You know, the funerals will just go on for days.
Another rough.
But anyway, Sam, I wanted you to come on tonight because we wanted to get some publicity out there for your show. He's got a Sam. Peter, why don't you tell us about the show you're bringing to town?
I'm going to be at Andiamo Celebrity Showroom in Warren, Michigan on December 2nd with my multimedia solo show, Till Death Do Us Part, You First, directed by Oscar nominee and 3-time Emmy Award winner Chaz Palminteri, who discovered me in Florida, immediately came up to me after my show, and we were talking, and he offered to direct it. So I'm excited about bringing it to December 2nd. And the Ammo showroom is wonderful. We have Paul Anka there, Herman Hermits, a lot of big acts. So I'm excited, and we want to fill the room December 2nd. It's a Friday night. And all for tickets, go to Andiamo Showroom, and you'll put up the graphic for people to go there. And I'm doing my off-Broadway debut November 11th through 13th at the Triad Theater in New York City, which Sam will be coming, and you are too, I imagine.
Yes.
Yeah, Sammy and I will be at the New York one.
What day is that, Peter?
Friday. New York is November 11th through the 13th, Friday through Sunday.
Okay.
3 shows.
Yeah, all good.
You have nothing else going on, Sam. You'll be there.
Zero. Absolute zero.
This is the highlight.
Seriously.
You should actually start training to get ready.
I just want applause when I get out of bed. That's all I'm asking.
All right.
So now
I would love it if Palminteri at your intermission walked out and said, "Now you can't leave."
They say that to him when he flies first class and the flight attendant knows who he is. She always makes that announcement, and he laughs because they all do. We're locking the doors now. As you can't leave. Yeah.
That was one of the best scenes I've ever seen in a movie in my life.
Really, beating up bikers?
Yeah.
Because no one ever beats up bikers. Bikers beat up people. So
right. Well, and these bikers had a reputation, if you remember the script, I'm sure you do, for trashing bars.
Yeah.
So, they had
Not in
no
the
idea what
Bronx.
they were in for. They had no
Not in the
idea.
Bronx. No, they had no idea. Yeah.
It was so bad that the punk kids in the neighborhood beat the shit out of them.
Yeah. Those were real bikers, by the way. Those were real Hell's Angel.
Wow.
Were they really?
Yeah, and
that's a great
there was
story.
There was a line in the movie that they had to take out because no. He said cut. The lead guy who said we just want to drink, we're not going to bother anyone. You can't. They were real bikers. They were hired as real bikers. Everyone in that movie of the main characters were the main characters in Chaz's one-man show.
In the play.
They were the actual characters of the show. He wanted authenticity, Robert De Niro, for A Bronx Tale. Those were the real Frankie the Whale, whatever the names were, I forgot. Tommy Coffee Cake. They were the real guys. They were all the real guys.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, it's he wanted authenticity, Mr. De Niro.
His right-hand man is an actor, though. Chaz Palminteri's right. The guy who was shot at the end.
That was
Palminteri. The guy, he was his right-hand man. He's the guy who got on the bus and said to De Niro, we want you to drop off something for us. We'll pay you. And he wouldn't do it. That guy is an actor. I've seen him, although he could be both.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys are both.
Yeah. But all the actors, the ones he talks about in the one-man show, those were the real guys. That's the beauty of it. They never acted before, and they, whatever. But more importantly, Chaz, as Robert De Niro discovered Chaz discovered me, and
that right there. So now we're talking. Now we can just relate to how authentic your show is, because I know it's based on your life experiences.
Yes, it's all I talk about why I've never got married at my age, the women that have broken my heart, why I never committed to women, and Chaz is the voice of my conscience. It's a show within a show. He directs me, and they know he's directing my show, but he comes back as the voice of my conscience. And he leads me to figure out why I've never been able to commit. And I, if I'm
just lucky.
What?
Just lucky.
Yeah, fast to my feet.
So even though he's not in he is in the show, but isn't in the show. So even though he won't be there, he's part of your show then.
Yes, he's a voiceover. He's
the disembodied voice.
Yes, that's exactly what he is. Just like Sam is a disembodied Jewish comic.
Exactly the same thing. Exactly.
Well, you must have felt pretty honored to have him come up to you and approach you about directing.
Yeah, he was a friend of a friend, and he says, "I got a buddy coming to your show tonight. Just put a ticket under my name." And he happened to be in the area, and we talked. And he says, "This is hysterical. It has a lot of potential." And I just threw it out there. You want to direct it? He goes, "Yeah." And that's what happened. I flew up to New York to work with him. The show was pretty. I had the guts. We just molded it. He's married. I'm single. We compared notes. I go, really? Is that really what happened in marriage? I talk about it. I study my single guy. I live vicariously through my married male friends, and they live through me. What has happened? How is it in the single world? Is it changed? I mean, or you have my married friends who go, just stay single, man. You don't know how easy you have it. Just stay single. You've dodged a bullet. What do you want to do? So I take characters of my real life friends and I put them into the shows. Like I always say, the stories are true. The names have been changed to protect the guilty.
Now you don't have to name any names, but are these friends that Sam and I might recognize?
Yes. There's one comic that is, I call him Uncle Harold. He's a combination of Bruce Smirnoff and what's his name? Hiram Caston. It's a combination.
Oh man, that'd be great. Oh, yeah.
Two guys.
The funniest line I ever heard about Hiram Caston came from Larry Amorose.
Well, what did he say?
Somebody said to him, Hiram Caston's mother died. He goes, of what, embarrassment?
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, but I never actually told anybody, but it's a combination of, these are two guys that are very funny, but they love to give unsolicited advice on topics they know nothing about. So they don't, and the women that I put in my show, if they come to the show, they're not going to, they'll not recognize themselves. They'll think, oh, that's somebody else. No, it's you. It's you. You just don't see it. So
do you think later it dawns on them that it's them?
In fact, one girl that I went out with, I hope she comes to the show. We went out in New York during my Catch a Rising Star days with Larry Ambrose. She lived around the corner from Catch. I hope she does show up. She's threatened to come, and
we should get Larry to come. We should get Larry to come to New York for this. That'd be great.
Larry's in he's in
Palm Springs.
He's in Palm Springs now. Yeah.
He
publishes the temperature online.
Yes, he does. That's what Larry does.
He does. I'm serious. He does. He goes, well, it was 108 today.
Oh yeah. Meanwhile, his Jewish friend down the street is going 108 at your end of the street.
Yeah. Don't forget December 2nd. So how far are you from Warren, Michigan?
Me, I'm about 17 miles.
Okay,
now in Detroit, it's the difference between East Side and West Side. And I just heard from the guy that said they couldn't do it because of COVID, and he's still trying to find a theater. So I don't know how tight your timeline is for this, but we may be extending you a day. But I can't promise anything. But he's still working on it. And I told him, let's start working on 2023 because then we can get 4 or 5 together, string 4 or 5 together rather than.
I'm booked. I'm booked to the end of the year, actually.
That's great.
We'll start working on 2023 then, and bringing getting you. You'd probably have to drive a little bit between, but you want at least 100 miles between.
Yeah, you need a 100-mile radius. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I just want Sam to be around to see it, and you. I want Sam to do whatever he can to make it to my show in New York.
I absolutely will be there.
Will you spread the word, Sam, to other people?
I certainly will. I'm going to put it on Facebook.
And I'll be there with them because whatever show Sam
I'm going to put it on Facebook, and I have 2,500 followers on TikTok, and I'll put it on that.
Okay, that'd be great. Let's make it viral. It's my off Broadway debut, as they say. So
your debut.
My debut, yeah.
Your debut.
That's right, Susan. I want a shout out to your lovely.
Can I bring her back? Can I bring her back in here? Because she thinks that you're a big star. She really thinks. Yeah, she really thinks you're.
Not after that description.
Look-alike.
I'm the biggest star on this podcast. Okay?
Rob Morrow's.
She always told me she thought you were as handsome. She always thought you were as handsome as Rob Morrow.
I'm Rob Morrow light.
Yeah, exactly.
Before Uber and Lyft, you used to park at our place, and I dropped you off or picked you up from LAX or something.
If I was gone for a week, I'd say, could I leave my car in front of your house? And you were very polite. And it was, we were struggling comedians. I didn't want to spend, at the little the off the sea. What was it? The sea.
The sea lot. The sea lot.
Yeah. That's right. So I had to move the car seats around to come get you or whatever.
I tell you, I never realized how valuable that parking spot in front of our house was until I realized how many gigs you got for me. So that must have been a very valuable parking spot because you used to get me.
I'm going to make it up to you 30 years later, okay?
Yeah. Can we go backstage at Off-Broadway?
Oh, yeah. Susan wants to know if we can go backstage at your theater after the show. Because Monica Piper let us go backstage. No,
you'll meet me after. There's no backstage. I'll be coming right out front to sell my book. I have a cookbook that goes with the show.
Awesome.
Go get it. Hold on.
All right. Tease the book.
And he was never seen again.
This is the book. It's called. It's based on the show. It's called The Aphrodisiac Cookbook: Delectable Dishes for Lovers and Other Married Couples.
See how I had to drop my glasses there to read that? There you go.
There it is.
Excellent. Well, I tell you what, if we get enough, whatever night we pick, we'll publish that. So if we can get as many comics there as we can, and we'll just have a raucous time. We should probably videotape the after party. That'd be a riot.
Who was very instrumental getting me into the triad was the lovely Carrie Hoffman, who you know, Sam.
I do.
Yeah. Sam,
Carrie Hoffman, the actress?
No, Carrie Hoffman.
No, Carrie Hoffman, the comedy club owner.
Okay.
Well, we'll make it brief. Carrie Hoffman was the owner of Stand Up New York, one of the top clubs in the 80s, correct, Sam? But what no one knows is that he does a great Sinatra tribute show.
Unbelievable Sinatra. Yeah, you could not tell the difference.
Yes. And he wrote a one-man show about a Jewish kid from the Bronx, I think, who was or Brooklyn, was obsessed with Sinatra, and he's done a PBS special on it. So
I think I've seen
and he
that.
has performed with like a 16-piece orchestra.
yeah.
Many times.
I got him into a Florida theater down here. The
But
Delray Beach
it
Playhouse.
stuns me how much because when I first heard that he was doing Sinatra, I was like, oh, this is going to be sad. No. On the money.
Yeah, it's not karaoke Sinatra. He's really
No,
Sinatra.
not close.
Yeah.
No,
Now,
he's
speaking
terrific.
of theater, speaking of theater, Peter, weren't you the guy who did the most performances of my mother's Jewish, my father's Jewish, my mother's Italian?
My mother's Italian. No, my mother's Italian, my father's Jewish, and I'm in therapy. I'm off. If anyone is in Kirkland, Washington, I'm going to be doing 5 weeks of that, starting a week from Wednesday, September 23rd to October 22nd. I'll be in Kirkland, Washington. Look me up. I'll be at the Kirkland, Washington Performing Arts Center for 5 weeks, doing 7 shows a week.
That's the Costco Center, right? You're going to be at the Costco Center.
Is that what I think it is? Kirkland is Costco.
Yeah, Kirkland is where Costco is, which means there'll be trays with sausages at the.
But you'll have a lovely roaster.
Oh, my ride's here. What is that? What the hell was that?
Was that you, Sam, or?
Now Sam's out of focus.
That was my phone. That was my. I'm gonna cut out for a minute. I got to take a phone call.
Okay.
All right. Well,
all right. We'll talk. Let's talk behind his back. He's gone.
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
Now that Sam's gone, here I'll get him out of there. Anyway, now that Sam's gone, now let's talk about him.
Now we can talk about him. No, Sam was very funny. Sam was he was in the hospital. He was given a play-by-play of what's wrong with him, and it's like, if anything bothers me, I keep it to myself. But somehow Jewish people love to let the world that's bothering them. I keep it to myself. I don't let my enemies know anything that's going on. Right.
Right.
But they go, what? Oh, you have high blood pressure. You had a heart attack. I'm clinically dead. I beat you all. That's the way they are. They're just
yeah.
But every one of my friends has something being replaced. Some body part, shoulder, hip, ankle, knees, and all I could say to them is get the extended warranty. It pays for itself. I don't know what to tell them.
All my parts are new, but my grandchildren are doing great.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, but don't forget, andiamoshowroom.com.
Yep. And if you want to get a group together, we can do that through my website if you want to, and we'll get a big group going over there. Again, I am committed to something for that night. We'll see if I can get out of it and I can get over there because you're only in town for one night. So it's December 2nd. Yeah. It's December 2nd. But you heard Peter.
It's a very popular showroom, isn't it, Mark? I mean, it
is very popular. It is very popular. It's more of a Vegas type showroom.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever done those type of rooms or not, where there'll be tables out there.
Yeah, it's cabaret style, and hopefully they'll cabaret style by the time I'm going on there. It's listen, I just did it at the in a beautiful theater called the Palace Theater in Tamarack, Florida, and had about 350 people show up and got a standing ovation, which is a lot of fun. I seem to be getting a lot of that, which is good. Obviously they're appreciating the show, and I always say it's the perfect evening of laughs for single, divorced, and devoted couples. I hit the gamut. I talk about the Me Too movement, how difficult it is to date now these days. You say the wrong thing. It's just, I lampoon everything, but it's basically real stories of my relationships and dating after 55, and which you have no idea what I'm talking about because you've been married your whole life. Yeah. Oh, a lot of things it's based on another guy who's given me advice, another good friend of mine who loves to give me advice. I go, this is what you have to do. I go, you've been married for 40 years. You have no idea. He goes, yeah, you're right. I have no idea. He just goes, you're right. I have no idea. When they got married, even when Palminteri got married, there was no internet dating. He met the old fashioned. He met his wife at church, and they were both religious. And that's how it was done in the old days, right? Where'd you meet your wife, Mark?
We were classmates in college.
Yeah, okay, college sweethearts, right? There was no internet. There was nothing.
Radio station.
Yeah, we met at the student radio station. I was taking film and television. She was taking television and radio.
You are you really are the exception to the rule. You know that. for a
exception
comedian.
to the rule of what?
Married, college sweetheart, still together, father, man about town, civic minded. You're just the opposite of what most comedians are. I say that as a badge of I salute you.
Oh,
because
well, thank you. Thank you.
You've been married longer than you've ever been single, correct?
That is true. That is true.
39 years.
It'll be 40 years next year.
There you go.
And starting on our 39th anniversary, we started dropping the hints to our children about, how most children give their parents a 40th anniversary party. Not saying you guys have to, just saying.
Just dangle the will. Dangle the will.
Oh, that one's for my youngest daughter. I keep, because that poor kid, she's 4 years younger than the next youngest one, and they're all off, and I don't want to say they're successful, but they have meaningful employment, and they're on their way, right?
Good.
And she's still, because she's the youngest one, expects everything to be done for her still. And I'm saying, look at your brothers and sisters. Look at what, they don't come around here and asking all these things. And she's like, well, that's because they didn't have to grow up with you. I go, they did grow up with me. How do you think your experience is different from theirs?
It's really sad. Well, I always say to you, you have someone to be a burden to in your twilight years. Me, yeah. I'm single at this moment, and I live across the street from an Alzheimer's and memory center, an Alzheimer's in an independent assisted living center. So you go into my community, which is called the Waterways of the Del Rey. The next one is Sonata. It's an Alzheimer's and an independent or assisted living center.
Well, I go up here. They call it memory care.
Memory care. I live next door to a memory care. So I go, this is my final frontier right here. It took me 14 years to get equity back in my home, because when I bought my man cave townhouse in 2007, it dropped during the real estate bubble, and It took me 17 years
to get it back.
I bought it for $240, dropped to like $100, like 3 weeks after I bought it. It's now worth $385. It took me 17 years to get this up to where it is. So where am I moving? Not going to move. Why do I have to move into Sonata? I'll have a Haitian Jamaican woman take care of me. That's basically it.
We were, my wife was, just before we went on, my wife was going through our wedding stuff for another reason, not for anything to do with our wedding. It had to do with her piano teacher had passed away this month. And so she was looking for because she was at our wedding. So she was looking if there was any picture evidence of her being there and things like that. And then she was telling me the story that the woman never had any children. Her brothers and sisters have passed away. And so the church is like doing a memorial luncheon, and there's no funeral or anything. I'm thinking, wow. I mean, that's the worst part about being by yourself all the time.
Well, I'm not going to give away the end of my show, but I do go to my own. I go to my own grave.
Oh, I like that. All right,
I don't want to give it away, but
don't give it. No, don't give up. Don't give up the jokes.
The whole story is linear of what Chaz helps me see the error of my ways, of why things didn't work out. It was my fault, their fault. But the girl the whole movie, the show is my girlfriend dumps me on Valentine's Day because I will not commit to marrying her, and I take everybody. And Chaz wants me to tell the audience about, if you want me to direct your show, you have to tell the audience about your past relationships. So he makes me open up and come to grips of why I'm single and what will happen if I don't commit to this woman. So I always say it's like Played Against Sam meets Christmas Carol. He's the ghost of Valentine's past, present, and future. He's showing me what's going on with my life. And that's why I get to act with him on stage, actually, in a voiceover. So I get to.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It is.
I can't wait to see it.
What happened to Sam? Did he get a better offer?
I don't know. But you know what? I've got two guys that have been waiting a half an hour.
I'm going to go. All right. But I appreciate it. We will talk further, and I hope everybody comes. You'll be listing everything where I'm playing, and hopefully.
Yep. Yeah, we'll take care of all that, and the clips that you sent me, we'll get those out. And
thank you, Susan. I always said Mark Sweetman married up.
Oh, thank you. He's taken me to New York. You gave us an excuse to take a trip we've been putting off for a long time.
And get some body armor. Play it safe.
Good to see you, Peter. We'll talk again, I'm sure, before then.
Thank you, Susan. Okay.
Right. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, now it's time to get my my other guy. Sammy hasn't come back yet, so let's get Andy back out here.
Hey, I'm up. I'm waking. That's great.
Now you see how much nicer that is without you guys dragging me into delay land.
I'm glad about it. It's very good. And I tell you, that was a great interview. That was a nice, spectacular interview. I mean, it was very poignant. You guys did the interview thing. It was great. And I was like, Chaz, Chaz, I think his greatest role was in Bullets Over Broadway.
Yeah, it was like that too.
When he played, he was the whole show for the most part. I mean, he did a tremendous job, and I watched that one over and over again. That to me is the funniest show he did.
Peter had to leave, Sammy. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I have stuff I had to take care of.
That happens. We'll see him again, though. That's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, Andy was saying Andy was just giving us praises about how great that interview went. I think a lot of it has to do with I had a professional interviewer here with Sam Greenfield. So
exactly, it was very, very watchable, very good. It was nice. It was a nice sort of background.
I interviewed Sonny Barger, the Hell's Angel.
Oh wow!
And he wrote a book, right? Mm-hmm. And most of the time, I don't have time to read a 400-page book. The guy's coming on the next day, that kind of thing. I didn't read one page of this book because I thought, look, I know how to bullshit my way through a Hell's Angel. I'll be fine. So Sonny Barger comes on, and he's talking like this. He's talking just like this. I go, oh, do you have a cold? And he goes, no, man, I got throat cancer. It was the first 5 pages of my book. I went, oh, yeah, I forgot. And my producer is looking at me like this. You look like this, but no, I know everything.
When I worked in radio before I started getting out of town gigs as a comic, I was still a comic, but I was just working in town. And Andy will tell you, back in the early '80s when we had like 20 clubs that you could make a living in Detroit back then.
You could,
and I did that. And I used to work for Dick Purton and J.P. McCarthy. Not at the same time, but those were the two big radio guys. And one of my jobs was to read the books that they were going to interview the author for the next day. So a lot of, I'd spend 10 hours the night before, give him about 5 pages of notes so that they could sound like they read the book.
Best interview I ever had, the one I enjoyed most was Carl Malden.
Oh, I bet that was fun.
Because he maintained a friendship with Brando right up until the very end. And I think he survived Brando.
He did.
Well, he lived to be 97.
Yeah.
And I also asked him about something, and I didn't want to piss him off because he was old, but I wanted to ask him, how can you defend Elia Kazan?
Oh, yeah.
Because, he named names.
Right.
And he not only named names, he named names of people who had already been blacklisted. He, buried them twice. And a lot of people were very pissed off that he got an honorary Oscar.
Yeah, Rod Steiger was really pissed.
And the people who sponsored it were De Niro and Scorsese, which amazed me.
That sponsored what?
That sponsored his honorary Oscar, who pushed it.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was watching the ceremony, they had a camera on Nick Nolte. Steam was coming off his neck.
Wow.
Yeah.
Remember the guy who played Max on Heart to Heart?
Yeah.
Lionel Stander.
Yeah.
The character in the front, Woody Allen.
That's
who
him?
Told the House Un-American act they can go fuck themselves.
They can go fuck themselves. Yeah,
that was Lionel Stander. That in real life, that was Lionel Stander.
Oh, okay, cool.
And he got on a plane and he flew to Europe and he lived in Europe until McCarthy was censored, and he lived like Hugh Hefner. He just had a hedonistic life over in Europe.
Wow.
But to the day he died, when he came back to LA, to the day he died, if he saw Elia Kazan, he would cross the street and yell "fuck you" at the top of his lungs and go, "This man is shit," as loud as he could.
Mm-hmm.
because he ruined a lot of lives. Elia Kazan. I mean, he's a great director. Great, but Mel Gibson's a great director.
Yeah, you're right.
Ron Steiger totally went berserk about it. So
yeah, but
Steiger did.
Yeah, he hated him. He was.
You know what's funny about that is that Steiger was played Charlie in On the Waterfront, which which made Marlon Brando's character Terry Malloy a hero for naming names.
Right.
Bud Schulberg wrote that script. Bud Schulberg named names. He made him a hero.
Well, the only thing I can say is consider this. Jane Fonda goes to North Vietnam. She suggested American prisoners of war should be shot for war crimes, but you never heard me say she didn't deserve an Oscar salute.
I agree. I agree.
I never demanded that she not be honored subsequently.
I understand that. Here's the one difference, and it may not be enough for you, but here's the one difference. Yeah. She apologized. She went to those families and apologized. Elia Kazan never apologized a day in his life. Never said he was sorry. Never said he regretted it. I'm not saying she wasn't a shitbag for doing that. She did it to John McCain. She told John McCain, "Aren't you ashamed? He was a prisoner of war. He's getting his arms broken, for Christ's sake." No, she was a shitbag for doing that. I'm not arguing that point. But she apologized. She gave money to Veterans Affairs. She did a lot of shit trying to make up for it. Too little, too late. I'm not arguing that point. But at least she apologized. Elia Kazan said, "No, I didn't do anything wrong." So, that's the difference to me. That and the fact that, he had
for the separation.
He had
Anybody else losing Sam? Or just me?
It's just Sam again.
Sam, we lost you for about the last 45 seconds.
There you go.
Oh, I just said the big disgrace of Elia Kazan's life is not that he named name in Vance.
Okay.
Maybe I should have stayed blacked out. Maybe.
Hey, look,
that's our blacklist. You get to be blacked out. There you go. Right.
Maybe that was a sign.
We've only got 18 minutes, and I got a lot of things that we're going to cover here. So
let's talk about them right now.
Let's do no more than 2 lines. You can do 1 line, but no more than 2 lines each on each of you. So, Queen Elizabeth. Anybody want?
Well, now Elton John is the only queen in England.
It's for as much bitching as I do about how much Americans fawn over a royalty that we fought a war against. I do think that probably the best monarch that you could possibly had. She had to oversee she went from a monarch of 32 countries to a monarch of 15. That could not have been easy to do, and not many reigning monarchs could have done that. Let those.
She holds a Holocaust survivors meeting every year.
Yeah, because her family was German. That makes sense.
And her family, and she had an aunt who hid Jews in Germany, who protected Jews. So she's okay with me.
Yeah,
One more thing, real quick. One more thing. Yeah. She canceled a concert. She was supposed to go to a private concert. I think it was with the Beatles. Okay, to watch Twin Peaks.
Did you hear that Andrew and Sarah are going to move back into Windsor Castle to take care of her dogs until they pass away?
Those two are like they're one of those divorced couples that get along better being divorced.
Yeah, exactly. But they're going to live together again to raise dogs. And how long can those dogs live? I mean, the
translation: she's broke.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what that's about.
And anybody else got anything, or we can go on to the next one here? All right, next. The hanging of the Obama portraits at the White House delayed because Trump would not have the ceremony. So the Bidens had the ceremony hanging of the White House portraits for Barack Obama.
I'm shocked that Trump would do something petty.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Obama is always so gregarious when it comes to his former vice president.
What's more amazing is that Trump's portrait is not up.
And it won't be.
Why
And it
not?
won't be.
It won't be for a while.
Because you think Joe Biden's saying, "I've got a great idea"? No.
Let's do Trump and
They're
Trump
going
and
to
Obama
put
together.
Trump into the train.
Yeah, they might do a painting of. They might do a painting of Trump, blowing Andy Warhol, but other than that, no.
Yeah. 16 images of Trump blowing all
exactly
together, like soup cans. All of Trump blowing Andy Warhol.
Yeah. Trump's image will be right over the urinal. It'll be way down low,
Yeah, Biden will say, needs to be fatter.
All right. Now, even a more important question than that, although I think Biden should have invited Trump, and they should have done it together because Trump wouldn't have shown up if it was him and
no,
Obama.
he wouldn't have gone if he had been invited.
No.
Anyway, but more importantly than that, the talk now about not charging Trump, even though they've got all the goods on him.
They can't charge him.
Why can't they?
As president, he has the power to declassify anything, and he maintains the highest level of clearance even as an ex-president. He still gets a regular presidential daily briefing. That's
not what.
But he doesn't have the power to leave declassified material in his breast pocket.
All right, that's not what
there
they're
has
going
to
to
be some level of protection for those materials.
He can do whatever the fuck he wants with that material. It's got to go back to the government. And what they're looking at, though, what the Justice Department is looking at are three things. They're looking at his pre-election plans to cause trouble with the election, and some of the people that he gathered together, and they just subpoenaed the phones of those two top aides.
And raided the houses of 50 people and
whatever.
You expect from the Stutzstaffel that's
how about if they get them on?
They didn't raid the houses, just the subpoenas.
How about if they get them on taxes? What's that got to do with classified material?
Guess one. God, I haven't had this much fun since I had.
Why can't he just die? Seriously.
No, he can't die yet because
I want someone to step on his air hose. That's all I'm asking.
I was doing that bit last night, Sam. You'd have been proud of me. I was doing a bit like that last night on stage.
Yeah.
I was.
Jason's kicking ass. Jason's got
that character down. The gay conservative hillbilly prophet thing.
That looks like George Lucas.
Mrs. Trump, could you move your foot off of the hose, please?
I was doing the "You're alive, you're dead, you're alive," and kinking the air hose at the same time.
Yeah.
Did you hear that Trump was going to fire what's his name, Jared Kushner, from running his campaign, and replace him with Bannon?
Oh my God!
You can't run a presidential
campaign.
Well, not from prison, but he was going to do it, and he said the only reason he didn't do it would cause too much angst in the family. And I thought,
actually,
it would be
much better in 2020 if he had actually had professional help. Instead, he was too much of an egotist, and he hires some half-assed yes men who go out there
he doesn't pay them. That's why he hired Manafort. He didn't pay Manafort.
Exactly.
He hired Giuliani. He still hasn't paid Giuliani. That's why lawyers won't work for him. He doesn't pay you.
All right, 12 minutes left. Next topic.
All right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Will they ever find a special master that they can agree on, the Trump lawyers and the Department of Justice?
If Trump is smart, he will drag his feet slow walk and object to every single one, even if they brought Jesus Christ Almighty down from the heavens.
I worked with Jesus in Vegas, and
he doesn't play piano all that well, but
the Jesus
on drums, he's out of sight.
Was it the Jesus that laid his hands on Elvis, or was it the Jesus from the Velvet Painting? Which Jesus were you working with?
They got to go ahead.
Okay,
keep going.
Next, let's get them all out here. Next topic. The Ukrainian military power now with the Western weapons. They seem to be kicking some ass here.
Russians are literally running out of the country.
Exactly.
And they can't build their weapons quickly enough. I guess they overestimated how much power they had.
Yeah.
Well, when you order your weapons from the Acme
From the Roadrunner.
From the Roadrunner.
Yeah. The secret password.
Wile E. Coyote's plan.
The secret password at the weapons.
You know what happened? The Russians were getting ready to put together a weapon, and somebody said, "Boris, vodka."
Yeah.
Yeah. Put a couple of bottles of Slivovitz out there, and they're yours.
Yeah, there you go.
$80 billion of weapons. Hey, not that we could have spent that in Detroit or LA or anywhere else. I mean, $80 billion, what the hell? I mean, let's just, if we can do anything with it, we can use it to blow people up on the other side of the planet. It's what's made us so popular.
I like your foreign policy. Yeah, just let it all go to hell and they'll be at our shores. Is that it?
Worry about it.
But see, none of this would have happened if Trump hadn't had his head so far up Putin's ass that they were speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
Well, and our dear friends, the Chinese, in accordance to one of their proverbs, the wise man sits on the mountaintop and watches the tigers fight.
Wait,
now, by the way, the ruble is worth more than it's ever been worth.
Wait a minute. The tigers are in last place.
They are. They're horrible right now.
Oh, I see who you mean.
Here's the worst part. Here's the worst part about them being in last place.
Yeah.
The Nationals and the A's still get a draft pick over them, so they can't even do last place properly.
There you go.
And I think the Pirates even have a worse record than the Tigers. So,
how about them Orioles?
Aren't they something? They came out of nowhere. Wasn't expecting that this year.
Listen, the fact they have a winning record is amazing.
Yeah, well, compared to what they were last year, my God,
Well, the Orioles,
they've got these young players, and he's a great manager.
The manager's a good manager.
The Orioles are going to finish in last place in the Eastern Division and still have a better record than all the wild card
teams. 8 or 9 teams.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not wild card teams. I mean the other divisions.
So they're still on the heels of Toronto, aren't they?
The Orioles aren't going to get the Orioles.
No, but they won't get there. But
they won't.
By the way, I have a confession to make. I broke Dak Prescott's thumb.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. What's the next?
Sweden. What's going on in Sweden?
I heard about this very briefly. I don't know. Jason, do you know about this?
I haven't damn thing about what you tell me. Are they having?
I guess there's some kind of bullshit going on in Sweden. Didn't your wife have something about it in her poem?
Yeah, she did. That's what I'm going to ask her. Hey, is Sweden the one that had the prime minister that they were getting after about dancing at parties or something like that? Was that Sweden or was
that Jack? Big deal. She was out.
It can't be that.
That was Finland, though. That wasn't
Sweden. No. But this is what I'm worried about. I don't expect Sweden to be the type of country that argues over this type of bullshit. We're stupid enough to do that, but I didn't expect that from Sweden.
But bear in mind that we've decided to put Sweden in NATO. I mean, running NATO right up to the Russian border, which we promised we wouldn't do. But, I mean, it's not like the Russians have ever been terribly touchy about their borders.
No.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Do you know why Mike Pence is against sex while standing up?
Because they might think he's dancing. Hello.
Yeah, it could lead to dancing.
It could lead to all right.
There you go. Could lead to dancing. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm just worried about a guy who calls his sexual partner mother.
What was the name of that one?
How about a guy who won't have dinner with a woman other than his wife?
Well, in a sense,
I'm not allowed to do that.
I can understand that. I mean, what was the name?
You didn't have dinner with Mike Pence's wife?
Okay, maybe her.
The
only if it's at a Chick-fil-A. Only if it's at a Chick-fil-A.
I got a 60-second joke. You ready? 60 seconds.
Go.
This woman is holding her grandchild at the beach, and a big wave comes along and sucks the kid out of her arms.
And
she's hysterical, and she looks up to, oh, God damn it, that's the end of that. I'd rather you do that than listen through the whole thing and let him pretend to laugh.
Me too.
I really would.
I used to work.
Did I tell you the one about the kid?
I used to work with a guy named Bob Posh. Andy or Jason. Do either of you guys remember Bob Posh?
Yeah, I think so.
He was a folk singer that started when comedy clubs came along, started doing comedy to get work. because they were a lot of the comedy clubs were replacing folk clubs, right?
Yeah.
And so he started doing, and he was doing 45-minute sets, 15-minute breaks, and he'd do this 4 or 5 times a night. You know, he'd go from 7 until 2 in the morning when the bars closed. So he had plenty of material, but a lot of it was just jokes, just, you know, street jokes and stuff like that. And we used to do a bit because I knew all the jokes. And at one time he was starting to tell me a joke and I'd tell the punchline. So he goes, all right, how about this one? And then he started to tell a joke and I tell him the punchline. And the people at the table, this is like at a Denny's after a show. And so all the people at the table, they were laughing their asses off. They go, you should do that as a bit. So we put together this bit where we just told the punchlines. It was like, and we started it off by telling the story about the prisoners that just call out the numbers. And and some guys just can't tell a joke. You've heard that one, right? And
sure.
So that's the only joke that we told the whole joke to, because the rest of the night, all we did was we told, one of us would start a joke and the other one would shout out the punchline. And then
do you know a comic named Ray Hanna?
Yes. I do
plays
know Ray
piano.
Hanna.
Plays
Yes,
piano.
He's from Cincinnati or Louisville or something like that.
He worked with me, and I don't know if you know Bill Broadus, but he worked with me and Bill Broadus at a club in suburban Boston.
Okay.
And he was awful. He was so bad. And he would tell a joke while he's playing piano, and no one would laugh, and he'd go like this. Yep. Yep. I'm going, what is that? You know, and so I went upstairs because they fed you at this place. It was a restaurant. It was really good food. So I'm eating, and Bill Broadus comes up to me, and Bill Broadus, the cords in his neck are as thick as my thumb. He was so mad about something. And I go, what's the matter? He goes, do you know what that son of a bitch did? I go, no. He goes, he did a song parody. I said, well, I mean, he's got a piano. He goes, no. This was the parody. Every time, you know the song by, I can't remember the guy's name. Every time you go away, you know that song.
Yeah.
He goes, you know what the goddamn song parody was? Every time you go away, you take a piece of cake with you. And he goes to me, he goes, cake! Like that. That's the goddamn parody. You fucking hack son of a bitch. He says, listen, I'm going to punch him in the mouth, and then I'm going to find his wife, and I'm going to punch her. I go, you can't hit her. He goes, I can't. I'm going to punch her because she has the bad taste to fuck that piece of shit. And I go, you got to calm down. He goes, oh, no. Cake? Sam, I'm sorry. I have my limits. I go, evidently. I go, look, I said, go outside, take a deep breath, and realize you're never going to see this guy again as long as you live. He goes, all right. So he goes outside, and he comes back. He goes, how about if I just do his wife? I go, no, just let it go. He goes, we have another show, Sam. I can't do it. I said, here's the deal. If you don't do the show, I'm going to do your time and my time and take your money. He goes, all right, call me when he's off stage. He was so, I've never seen anybody that angry.
Didn't Ray
I was scared.
Now, Ray Hanna, he was like Sandy Blonde and had that John Davidson type throwback hair. Is that the guy I'm thinking of?
Well, when I saw him, his hair was brown.
Well, but a lighter brown, lighter than John Davidson, right?
Well, yeah.
But he threw it back like that, sort of like that comb back type thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a mullet. I guess everybody had a mullet. Everybody had a mullet in the 80s.
Frightening looking guy.
Yeah.
And his wife was his manager. And I thought, oh, that'll work. Yeah, that doesn't have disaster written all over it.
What could possibly go wrong?
Exactly. And so she's sitting with me and she goes, do you have a manager? I said, no. She goes, would you like one? I said, no. She goes, I could be your manager. I said, that's the wrong noun.
That's like, who did the line? That's the wrong verb. Whose line was that?
That was a woman walked up to Jack Nicholson. Sean Penn tells this story and says, hey, Jack, would you like to dance? And he goes, wrong verb.
Yes.
He really meant it when he retired, didn't he? He wasn't bullshitting.
No, I guess he can't act. He's not doing so good these days.
Him and you know who got really old looking but looks to be in good health is Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
Oh, really? He's like 94 now or something like that?
91, 92 years old. Yeah, he looks great.
That man had a 10-year.
They should really get all those old guys together. Mel Brooks, Dick Van Dyke, Gene Hackman.
You don't want Dick Van Dyke. I saw Dick Van Dyke recently. Don't go near that. No, he looks terrible.
Yeah.
He's wearing like sweatpants and pulling them up. And
how's Bob Newhart doing?
Great.
Yeah.
Just get these guys together. Just one last time. Everybody thanks them. Put them up at the Kennedy Center or something. You know what I mean? Some sort of a. You don't need to give them
the thing is that you have to hope that everybody you're talking about is in physical. You remember George Burns was going to do a show at the Palladium when he turned 100.
100.
And then he just didn't have it. He didn't have it in him to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to make sure before you do this. I understand what you're saying. I think it'd be great too. But all these guys are like, yeah, I'll do that. Because if they don't say that, you know, and you got to make sure, you know, some of these guys, I would assume all these guys that you just mentioned are financially viable. But if they're not, you don't want a guy who's just doing it for the money and shows up because he's, you know, got one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. So, you know, you can't have that.
All right. Well, anyway, our time's up because we got Frank Sinatra singing to us again. So,
I'm going to have sex with Jane Fonda, and the hell with you, Jason.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jason and Andy were here when Sam announced it, but Sam will not be with us next week. So,
right, we have to come up with stuff.
Yeah, we have to come up with stuff. So, you know,
I challenge you.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Well,
you know what you could do? You could do a half hour. You could do a half hour of just trashing me.
That'll be good. I'll do some research on it. I was like, these are all the lies that Sam's did, you know?
You know, when Sam tells his stories like that, I'm thinking, what a great idea for a show. I wonder if we could pitch that where we'd say, everybody tells their story, their celebrity story or their comedy story, something like that. And then we go back and we interview the principals to ask them, is this accurate or not?
The only problem with that is, I guarantee you, it's money in the bank. One of them will take a swing at you.
And that's part of the show. That would be part of the show. We'd have behind a couple of henchmen that would take care of you.
Hey, Billy Joel, I heard you left $4 on a $300 dinner tab. Are you really that big cheap of shit? Ow! Ow!
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, we gotta
see that.
All right, das vidanya, y'all.
We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week, and Sam, we'll see you in a couple weeks. And
I'll see you in hell, Captain.
Okay.
Take care, guys. Stay well.
All right.
Yeah, you too.
Take care. We'll see you. Yeah, you guys can stick around until the broadcast is done, but we're going off the air right now.